Okay, so I finally found one of these EAs that will publish my trading results that actually runs without some type of brutal. Um, uh, Hopefully, this is going to keep running. FX Book stopped running on me, and I just don't know how to launch that thing, and it's so confusing. This happens to pick up this balance here, so I know that this is running on this one account. So this is the one that I have these white charts on. So anybody wants this platform, you could strip out. I would say if I ever send you this, it would look like this. So this guy that asked me, do you have a trading course? Well, I would say it looks like this. If you're going to sell, inside of MetaTrader, you have all these directories in the navigator. So if you go to accounts, you see that. If you go to indicators, you see that. Go to expert advisors. This is what I'm running this FX Blue is. I downloaded that and it seemed to install. I throw that over there. It picks up all these trades. And I have the Holy Grail here. But I can't even sell that. That's what I'm using to pay all the bills here. Here is my FX book. Couldn't get that to run, and so for the past, I guess, probably 5 years, I've been experimenting with all these different approaches to the market. And a lot of this stuff you hear, even going back to, I don't know if everybody studied like just if you're trying to make money and you see a book that says Think and Grow Rich, you're like, let me check this out. Now it's kind of funny because it's like so simple that you're thinking, well, this is just garbage. It's got to be way more complicated than that. But for this system here, if you're going to trade, I've got about 20 pairs up here. So every day on the 4-hour chart, and kind of regardless of overanalyzing it, if you just looked at the 100 pip zone, and here I've just placed an order that risk 50 to make 100. So if you start off there, one of these, one buy and one sell script is all you would need. Now if you want to risk $5 to make I think that I put this in one of the videos, I'm not sure if it was risk 50 make 100. This is stuff that you don't have to babysit. This is like having children in an orphanage. Like you own the orphanage and you've got 400 children. You're like, if I wanted to see kids, I'd just go to work. This is what this is, this approach. Now, just the word approach right there is so complicated. Like, how do you, well, they use that when they talk about flying planes, because you're coming into that runway, you got to nail it. And here I would say you're looking to be the market maker on the scalps. Now if you wanted to risk $1 to make $2 in 2 hours, then you're going to get fancy and you're like, oh, I'm going to put an order here and I'm going to scalp this. Comes down, hits, boom, you're out. Now you could lay these all day too. I'm going to risk in 6 hours, so, and it's not a lot of time. I've noticed that these markets are so fucking boring that I'm going to have to place an order all day long out here. So here's the daily orders. So you have a day drop. And now I'm just going to keep my ratios decent here. And I'm going to experiment with this account saying, well, I'm just going to drop this weekly order here to risk 25 to make 75. The script that I'm going to make a sell script in this comment line. So the last 7 videos, if you look at the one that says pending drop, or it says drop on chart, if I put up the sell version of that, that's all you need to make $1 million. You just keep changing the size of that, or in the ideal approach is to hand place these that you're going to risk. Here's a risk. Here's a terrible risk. Risk 30 to make 11. But what's more likely? That I make 11 What's a higher probability? Now, if 1K is not a lot to you, what if you risk break even? 45 here, risk 34 to make 21. Here's my Fibonacci daily order. Put it down at the 100-yard line. Could this market come and ricochet off this and come up into this floor? So your whole time, it's my approach the whole time, all you're doing is placing orders. Outlandish stuff. Especially if the news is coming out. I'm going to risk 100 to make 100 when the news is coming out. Yeah, you put this order down here. You risk 300 pips. So if you're going to risk 300 pips on a 1K, that's going to cost you $30 to figure out if you can make 60. You're risking 30 to make 60 on a double your money ticket. Now, what is the probability of that happening in the next 5 minutes on any one of these currencies? Probably not likely. Now, that's swing trading territory, right? Or position trading. Or I don't want to get stopped out territory. It doesn't mean you can't get out before you reach your $60 and take your $10 and run. And if that's the first, you just decide your risk in dollars up front compared to the life you're living. So if you're not driving 3 Ferraris and crashing them and just going whatever, then maybe you're a guy that's only got $100. So this whole idea, and besides, if you know how to trade, why would you put $500,000 in your account and then learn how to trade? Wouldn't you just want to take your 100 and turn that into $500,000? Wouldn't you rather start with 100 and make it 200 by the end of the week and say, yeah. Now, the only problem with having 10 grand and thinking you're going to go to 20 grand is that if you're still living the lifestyle of a guy that thinks 5 grand's a lot of money, now you're outside your comfort zone. Now you're going to blow that account up, bring yourself back into the comfort zone. And you also, the idea that you're making money just from a decision, I always thought was disturbing only because I've made my money. Well, the first part of my life using my hands to build stuff and sell stuff with my hands. So trading was kind of tough because I thought, well, I'm just making a decision and I'm getting paid for it like I'm an attorney. And I guess I never pictured myself as an attorney. I've been disappointment to my whole family, but here's risk 25 to make 25. Now, as this goes on, you could overload this account. I guess if you went back, I don't even know if you have any way to go and look at your pending exposures. But I think if you just kept track with a little scratch sheet of every time you drop one of these outlandish orders. So here's a conservative order. You risk 50 to make 75 all day long down here at the 100-yard line. Yeah, I'll do that. So I'm going to try to stay away from the hotkeys that launch this big array. So if I just put in these pending drops, and I think this, I think they're good till canceled. If you take the time frame off of that, but weekly, daily. Now, this is kind of a commitment to. This is better than any Gartley or any fib handle for a lot of reasons, because if I put this order down here, I'm saying to myself, hell yeah, I'd buy down there. Who the fuck's not buying down there? Like, so if this is all, this just happens to be the euro against the pound right now, but if this isn't really going up, then certainly we don't care if we're just scalping, because you just want to get these. Like, look at this 100 pips stupid ass sell. Now, had you placed a crop of orders up here from the sell side, you would have made money. Now, maybe you're only trading 1Ks, but your account's already at $300 in 3 weeks. You're making $100 a week off a $100 account. Now, at this point, I would not build that account, just speaking for myself, because I've done it. I would not build that account up to 10 grand and trade the fuck out of it. I would trade that account the way you've been trading it, it's making $100 a week. Now you open another account. Now you trade a different instrument. Now you're making money. When this guy's waiting to get filled, the other guy's making money. And maybe you pick dollar against CAD and euro against the dollar, so you have something that, if you're a buy or sell only person, you can have dual pistons running. It's a twin V system. So that is the ultimate. Now I'm going to track this and try to be I'm going to try to trade this like it was real money, this demo, and probably won't get a lot of action. I mean, if I really wait a week to get filled on a swing trade and I have little scalps in here, and maybe the ratios aren't the best on some, but the probability cancels out the ratio because it's about dollars. It's not about, like, if you're going to risk $300 on a risk to reward ratio that sucks, that's different than risking $3 on a risk to reward ratio that sucks, but the probability of winning is very high. So it is like lottery tickets in that sense, where you're but it's a loaded deck, and you've got a high probability because you've taken so much away from. I'm also guessing that you place the order at where you think there's going to be a scalp fight, there's going to be a battle. So the battle zones on here are all the gray areas, and so this is the only way I see to do it. Now, if you're looking for action, then this is why you need the scalping account. So you've already built a system that is running. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's old people talk. And but that's why when I go on Facebook, which I have to almost bail on that again, because there's so much shit going on. Like, just leave me alone. Like my car, it's like leaving the lights on for me. It's helping me. I'm like, dude, you're killing my battery. Like, I don't know. The world's turned into some kind of like, let me help you with that. I'm like, people are driving these electric carts around the grocery store. Dude, if you can't walk through the grocery store, this is God's way of telling you, stay the fuck home and get on an exercise bike, right? Just saying. Just side note. But break even at 20 pips? Sure. Risking $2 to make $2 down here. Didn't seem to load. That took a long time to load. I don't know. It's brokers and creeper gear. So no fills, and then here's my terminal window, so I can see my. I'm going to turn the comments on here. And so this is another thing. If you really wanted to go through here forensically, so here's my winning plunge orders, and this is a 1K, mind you. So this could have been a big ass order, but it wasn't. I made a whole $3.80. But I guess that's like 30 pips, right? 30 pips on a 1K. So that's not bad. If that was a mini, you just made 30. So these add up real quick. And here's my huge losers on the same strategy. So I'm pressing the button. Now this is probably those are down $4 now. So my biggest winner is not big enough, I guess, to the deposit. That's the big winner. So this is a demo. These should be bigger winners, because I think the losers are slightly bigger, but I guess they're break evens there. So it might have been the bottom of the script. It's the same script running on the same pair. I think there was just kept pressing the button on that. Wanted to see what was going to happen. So this is telling me it's a retrace. And these are more scalp sets, so the profit's smaller because it's a scalp. But this is not hand placed. Most of this stuff is hit a button. And here's some buy at the markets. Very few buy at the markets. Certainly not the best trades in the world. And I wasn't really paying attention. I mean, market's like a car that's running down the road and you're trying to get on it. So if you don't wait at the train station for the random train that's coming, so market is so spiky that you're basically sitting at a train station with your limit waiting to get filled. And I don't know, apparently I lost a ton on those other trades because I'm down 800 and some bucks. But those are all, and I lost my chart to this, I think. That one chart's gone, can't see it. And here's the Singapore dollar. Now this you could trade with the really wide orders. So here it looks like this all week long. I don't know if I'll be able to bring the account back to sanity. Of course here, we're buying down here and we're going to get out there. This is all day. I don't think we're coming down here. So what's realistic? Come to here. And the other thing is, there's another psychological trick, is that if you're running this 50 pip stop, I'll put a 50 pip sell in this thing. So it'll be the same version, just the sell version of this. Here's a risk, let's see here. I should have a risk 50 to make, here's a break even. Risk 75 to make 75. And so you just put this, oh no, what I say is that the stop, 25 pips stop on here, and you're looking to make 75 pips. So you put that at the round number. And the thing is that if you can handle psychologically getting stopped out of that and having the market go flat, then you'd simply, just as a starting point, to just without any market structure, I'm just talking seriously, just putting orders at the round numbers for starters. I'm going to try that on this account. Some of those orders I threw in weren't. They were where I can see the wicks at. So everything from the wick to the round. And if you can handle getting stopped out of this trade, you would put another one in. And you could also just take this and add it to your favorites. So if you add this to your favorites, then you're not going to be able to double click it here even if you wanted to. You just take this and drag it over right to the top of here. So you'll be getting stopped out of that trade for a little bit, and then you pick up this round. Now, if you just put them on the rounds for starters, and I haven't done this formally as an experiment. Imagine you just putted cells at the round numbers for your entry. Screwing up that drop. Round numbers right there. And when they stop you out of one of these, you have no fills for another. So you're selling here with a 25 pip stop, and once they stop you out, it's another 75 pips before you get filled on the next order. So you're actually flat, and you're just picking up this hand-placed linear grid. God forbid it's linear, and so you're going to go flat for 75 pips till you get your next. I screwed up that drop. You get right at the tip of your mouse. It's pretty precise. So right there. Now that's all day long. I don't think this market's gonna. So you have to give yourself a realistic order placement, but it's all about order placement, I think. So what do we buy down here at the bottom? And you may not get filled on this stuff if you get too far away from the market. Okay, here's 8 hours to buy every new low for 8 hours or something here, and then put in the big wide. I'm in the wrong. Okay, here's 12 hours, and this is when I posted 50 pips. Singapore dollar. It doesn't matter which currency, so you'll be going flat for 50 pips here before you start to get crushed. So this is and you don't have to wait till. It's just a way of setting trade plans for the whole week. So you can put weeklies in here, walk away. Here's the risk 100 to make 100. 15 to make 15. And it just goes on forever. If you're in the 4-hour chart, you see here's your entry to make all these pips. Always getting in at the round. Here you would have withstood a 100 pip stop to make 200 pips. You can just see that, obviously. Had you placed a crop of orders in a 100 pip window, that's a pretty no-brainer trade. Here, if you used a little bit of analysis just from top-bottom theory, is that you got the double bottom becomes the top failure right there. Dollar kid. If you're in an uptrend, here's your price pulse. You're going to copy this, put it to the highest close within there as your target. That's about as gartly as you want to get. And this is the trend line to break for the bears. We broke out, we pulled back, the scalpers had their fun. So you could have little scalp orders up there. And if that's the case, and you still want to risk $30, then you're going to have to make that a 13K. Do the math, 13K of 15 pip stop to make 15. So it was like this. Imagine that's a 15K, and you just want to trade that little itty bitty bounce there. So not a lot of people want to put 10 orders in there, but I don't see why not. If you go like this and you say for 2 hours I'm going to risk 15 pips to make 30 pips off of this arbitrary thing, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna since the volatility is high, I'm gonna spread these out. That's trading, right? That's just easy. Look at this thing here. Look at these no-brainer trades up here. Perfect. I actually have this moving average set to 2, so smooth it out a little bit, a little laggy. Gives you a perfect top bottom here. Look at this trap window. Triple trades there. So is this breakout a real breakout, or is this a fake out? Are they trapping people up here, or are we going to go down? So I'm going to sell up here blindly at the round numbers. Find your sell scripts. So I made a directory just for us for sells. So when I go to the favorites list, I can run this on a tablet because it takes up less. If you're going to run Windows 8 on a tablet, trying to economize. Just sell here at the round numbers, right around them. 8 hours here. That's a no-brainer trade. 8 hours. So let them stop you out and put one in between. Let me go to the daily. Go to the weekly. No real resistance up there for a while. This is gonna be quite hairy if the stock market tanks. You could see this thing really take quite a lunge to the north side. Oh, top bottom here on the weekly. So this is the. Well, look at this weekly view. Imagine placing this order to risk 20 pips right there. That was the trade. It was also a great place to have the I'm going to risk 50 pips, but right in this cluster, so you're getting in multiple orders in there. Here are all the sells at the top of the wicks. So you come in with the top of the wick orders. I don't think these will fill. This is a 6 hour. But you could have news come out here. Then goes smashing up, pulls back. This is set and forget it trading. I guess that's what the whole plan here is not to. So the drops come up as drops on here. And if I had my these buy stops. I guess I put the wrong order in there. I put buy stops above here. So that screwed that up. So the problem with the drop, the only drawback on a drop is that if it said sell and you put in see, the drop turns into a stop when it's on the screen. So I put them above. That kind of screwed it up. So I like the comment line. It's telling me that I put it above. I grabbed the wrong drop. It's hard to do on the cells because if you double click a cell, pre-programmed cell, a non-drop thing, it's going to come in. It would just say sell. And because I just have B here, I have to pay attention. B's for buy. But I don't even think it's going up there in 8 hours, so this is the other protection against stupidity. I don't know, this broker's not connected. It's just not deleting. I don't know if there's news coming out. Okay, well, anyways, we want to sell high here, so I should only see sell limits come up there. So right here it came up. The bottom here. So if I just pepper this thing up here, I'm just like, whatever, throw this crap up here. It's a retracement, it's a reversal trade. Is there any way to get long this thing? Okay, so we could have got long right here. We missed the entry from a buy stop vanish. So if you think you missed the entry, then you can put a 1 hour retag there, maybe just right here. So maybe there's news coming out. It looks like we're ready to launch this ship. Here is the been scalping this situation here. We got a pullback. It's getting a little scary for the bears. Broke out, pulled back. People scalped out already. We could still come back and have all this backfill. If I go to the this one, I'm going to run super wide buy limits on that. So you can set this thing up like dominoes for the whole week, walk away, come back, see what happens. I mean, you don't have to be here for it. And if you put your orders too far away, then you just lost. I guess you're never going to get filled. Here's 50 pip stops on the round. So this is your big trading day, all the work you got to do. I mean, you got how much money in that account, and here you're not even about. You're going to let it go. You're going to let it go flat for 150 pips. Right in there, that one little change right there is enough to make you so much money, and you would just buy all the way down here. I like the idea of having an account that just buys this kind of stuff. It just loads up on this stupid stuff with just huge 300 pip stops to make 600 pips. You write that script, you drop it here, or you have a constantly, this is 1 month here, and you just capture that thing. Look at this sideways stuff on the daily. After this kind of dynamics, how are people getting their brain around this kind of movement? And this is where the scalp friendly orders are. You're always scalping because they'll blow you out of these scalps real quick. You're either going to win or lose on that. That's a do or die situation. But had you say you had an 8 hour scalp up here for that, here's a risk 12 hours, risk 22 to make 44, right up on that wick. But how would, if you put that order in here, Risk 18 to make 36. Could you have done that? Yes. That's a winner. Now they would stop you out. You're selling all the way up into that. The tighter the stop, the bigger the order can be. If you have a linear risk, look at this tag at the 100. This is very suspicious. This is conspiratorial right here. There's something going on here. Why is it bouncing off that so hard to make an easy 100 pips? Because yeah, you just put your orders in here. They're just picking up all this money. Now if you put a 50 pip grid up, and then maybe you're trading with 18 stops, but that's it in a nutshell. The rest of it is having the patience to wait for your orders to fill, or like here's the guppy. I want to buy this on pullbacks. Where's the stop hunt? Here. Place all those orders in. 8 hours. Walk away. Next problem. Okay. Buy here. This is how hard it is to trade. Okay. Next currency. I'll buy here. That looks good at the 100. So this is the how hard it is. Buy at the 100. Does that really work? Buy at the 100. Yes, son, it works. It's terrible. I mean, how do you think I feel after reading all those books, buying all those courses? Hope I didn't just put a bunch of cells in there. Yeah, I did. See, I was in the wrong order bank. I'm just going to delete everything and start over. Delete all pendings. Now, here's another thing that's really, for stubborn people, this is going to be tough, trust me. Close all open and pending orders right now. So I'm not in anything. Let me start over. And this is kind of like, well, I just put all those orders in there. Okay, well, but listen, if you make one mistake in here, why would you want to, when you could just hit the just shake your Etch-a-Sketch. And here's close all open and pending. So we'll see how fast this broker can. I think this broker's pretty slow at getting out, because there's an upload time. My upload time's not good, and so close all open and pending. This one actually runs. So we should clear off this bank here. Orders should be coming off this puppy. So that's an automatic thing. But that's a nice, now you could just start over. Say, okay, let me relook at that. Because we're not going to make any money. We don't have any chance to make money now. So that's all gone. And this is a free script out there all day long. Close all open and pendings, MT4. Then I have delete all objects. So if you want to start from scratch, and you're like, okay, I'm a 4-hour trader. This is the pound CAD, and go to the favorites. And oh, would I buy here for a scalp? Sure, why not? 3 hours, right? So look at this killer trade off the round. You could have had a 20 pips stop on that and rode that for an easy 60 pips. How about an easy 300 pips on that? 4-hour order placement. Double top becomes a bottom, and of course I have a 1 period moving average, so let me just, this is a 2 period moving average, so let me make it 1. So this is my suggestion, how to get rich in Forex. Find a psychological risk that doesn't cause pain. You risk $1.50 or $150 depending on what kind of car you drive. You place your order at the last known top on the 4-hour. You place your buy limit here, you walk away. Now, you wouldn't have got filled on that if your spread sucks on your broker. So maybe you're going to have to just put it at the round number of your order. So you see the round number is where we went below. We have a top bottom, but we don't have the dip and I'm just talking about a 10 pip window, and if the spread sucks on this, which it probably does, I don't have my spread indicator up here, so I can't tell exactly. Okay, that's going to take a while to load. It looks like it's kind of brutal. So here on the scalper's world is putting your orders down here, so it looks like you wouldn't have got filled and it's floating. So here would have been a round number trade, just simply round number stuff. That is the most popular price. It always will be the most popular price. And so here would have been just, you're below the round number. You're placing your orders there. And you just do that in the future. Your sell limits come in here. So put your sell limit here. You get stopped out of that. You go flat until you get the next 100 round and like that. So I'm going to have to put on my favorites list, the 50 for this account. Now, each account would have its own favorites list, and maybe this could keep you from, at least you could go back and figure out what you did right. So you're going to risk 50 pips to make 100 pips, and you only have 2 favorites on your favorites list, and you start off with an account. You're trading, if you're going to trade 20 pairs, then you might get filled on something, especially if there's news coming out. So if you're risking $5 to make $10, and you made $30 that day on a few of your pairs, and you got blown out of the other ones, you have to see what happens. I guess you could throw them on every currency pair, but then you probably want to get better ratios, like risk 25 to make 75. And now it's about, well, let's put some high probability trades in there, like I'm going to risk 20 to make 30. 20 pips to make 30 pips. And I'm going to put them around the round number so I can make my easy money out of the gate. And I don't think you need to back test this to see that if you would have bought here for a scalp only to make this much with this stop, you also have your 100 pip winners in here, but you got, now the diversification begins, and you start to put in all these different stops and times things. As you move those to the favorites list, I'm just speaking for if you're going to treat this in a kind of a well, I guess dare I say professional manner, you really have to have this favorites list, stick to your execution off of here so you know what you've done wrong and right, so you can replicate it. And even though you can't believe that just selling at the round number makes money and that you need some Gartley thing, you can always put it on here, the channels, so everybody is trading this right now, or anybody that or the market's trading, the market's moving like this right now at this rate. This is the current rate of change and the current ATRs. And there's you have this it's also your projections for your price balls. So we're walking up this, drifting up this channel. There's probably a high probability in the next 6 hours that we're going to go to this round number and ricochet off of that and not blow through and come back to here, and we could get blown out of that. So we put another order here near the round. But if we stick near the round numbers with all the orders, then we go flat. We'll get picked up on high probability moves, and the buy, if you're just going to try to make 5 pips, risk 5 pips to make 8 pips, it looks like that. You can almost not even see it. Here we could come, when the news comes out, we could come all the way back down to here. So can we get down here in 8 hours? If you did, wouldn't that just be a great, look at that little scalp down, I put it in the wrong spot. You really want to stick to those round numbers. Look how slow this broker is. Selling up here. Scalping around these this round number. It was this grid here was called big numbers when it was originally got it. Boy, that just is taking forever to load that. I don't think it's going to load those orders. Anyways, that's the way to make money trading. Here we're going to look for buys at the round number. How'd that trade work out? Was this a good place to get in? And take your 50 pips with your 25 stop and run? Yes, sir, it was. Now, here they would have stopped you out at the round, selling back in. Here's a good trade, selling back in. Here's a bounce off the round. You didn't make 100, but you made your 25s. So 25, we have 15, 25, 35, 45 stops. Ratios are set to double your money. That's what you're going to make. And you don't need to know where the market's going. You don't need to put a trend line or a thing on here. Anyways, I crashed this platform somehow. I had too much stuff on here. But round numbers. And just pick your risk. And that's how you make $1 million.